The transport shuttle docked with Galactic Academy at exactly 0800 hours. Maya Chen stepped out carrying a single bag, her dark hair tied back in a simple ponytail. Around her, other students arrived with floating luggage pods and personal servants. She noticed the stairs immediately. The Academy orbited Zenthos Prime, beautiful blue and green planet visible through the massive windows. This station educated the children of diplomats, warriors, and merchant princes from across the galaxy. Maya was the first human student in 5 years. Must be the Terran, a cheerful voice chirped behind her. Maya turned to see a bird-like creature with brilliant purple feathers and large golden eyes. "I'm Lisa's your doormate." "Welcome to the Academy," Maya smiled, grateful for the kindness. "Thank you. I'm Maya. This place is huge." "You'll learn your way around," Lisa said, leading her down a corridor where other students watched them pass. "Just stay out of trouble. Especially avoid the Krellians. They run things around here." Before Maya could ask what that meant, the crowd ahead parted. A massive figure walked toward them, easily 8 feet tall, with dark green scales and golden eyes. His muscles rippled under his academy uniform. Other students pressed against the walls to give him space. This was Krevthor, son of Admiral Krevinash, of the Krellian war fleet. He stopped directly in front of Maya, forcing her to look up at him. "So, the rumors are true?" His voice rumbled like distant thunder. "They let a human join us. Tell me, little mammal, does your soft world even have a proper sun? Or do you hide in caves?" Lisa's grabbed Maya's arm, trying to pull her away, but Maya stood still, meeting his gaze calmly. "Earth has everything we need," she said quietly. "We manage just fine." Krefthar laughed, a harsh sound that echoed off the walls. Several students joined in nervously. "Managing is what prey does before predators find them. You soft creatures from easy worlds don't belong here with real warriors." Maya said nothing. She simply stepped around him and continued walking. This unexpected response seemed to confuse Krevthar more than any comeback would have. His followers watched uncertainly as the small human girl walked away without fear. "That was incredibly brave or incredibly stupid," Lisa's whispered as they reached their dorm room. "Nobody walks away from Krevthar like that." "He was just talking," Maya said, unpacking her few belongings. "Words don't hurt anyone." Over the next 2 weeks, Maya settled into academy life. She attended classes in xenobiology, galactic history, and survival tactics. Her instructors noticed she asked excellent questions and absorbed information quickly. In physical education, she moved with unusual grace, though she never pushed herself to stand out. Krefthar noticed, too. It bothered him that she showed no fear. Every other student either worshipped him or avoided him. But this human acted like he didn't exist. He started watching her more closely. During a zero-gravity combat simulation, each student had to navigate an obstacle course while maintaining control. When Maya's turn came, she moved through the course with smooth, precise movements. Her body seemed to understand exactly how much force to use, exactly when to push off surfaces. She completed the course in the top 5 times. Krevthar's time was first. But seeing her name so close to his on the board made his scales itch with irritation. After class, Professor Thane, an elderly Velkorian with silver skin and wise eyes, called Maya aside. "You're holding back," he said quietly. "Why?" "I'm here to learn, not compete," Maya replied. The professor studied her for a long moment. "Your physical assessment results were sealed by Terran authorities." "That's unusual." "Very unusual." Maya met his gaze steadily. "I'm just a regular student, Professor." "Perhaps," he said, but his tone suggested he didn't believe it. "Just remember, this academy has protocols in place. For all situations." That evening, in the dormitory common area, Maya sat studying while other students socialized. Krevthar entered with his usual group of followers. He walked directly to her table and knocked her datapad onto the floor. "Soft-worlders should study in their rooms," he said. "This space is for real students." Maya picked up her datapad, checking it for damage. "There's plenty of room for everyone. I decide who belongs where." Krevthar leaned down, bringing his massive face close to hers. You need to learn your place, human. This academy has a hierarchy. You're at the bottom. For the first time, Maya's calm expression shifted slightly. Something flickered in her eyes, something cold and old. But it passed quickly. Krevthor, she said softly, I'm asking you politely to leave me alone. Please don't make this into something it doesn't need to be. He laughed again. Or what? You'll cry? Run to the professors. Your kind is all the same. Weak. Maya gathered her things and left without another word. Krevthar watched her go, frustrated that he couldn't get the reaction he wanted. His followers congratulated him on putting the human in her place, but the victory felt hollow. Later that night, Lisa's found Maya standing at their window. Looking out at the stars, she'd report him, Lisa's said gently. His behavior violates student conduct rules. It's fine, Maya said. I can handle it. But why should you have to? Just because you're from a lesser-known world doesn't mean Earth isn't a lesser world. Maya interrupted quietly. It's just different. Very different. Something in her voice made Lisa shiver, though she couldn't explain why. Outside the window, stars gleamed against the darkness of space. Somewhere among them was Earth, the world that had made Maya Chen. A world whose true nature remained classified in galactic databases. Krevthar had decided to make Maya his target. He thought he was hunting prey. But some prey evolved in places so harsh that the line between predator and prey disappeared entirely. Maya had tried to walk away. She had tried to avoid this. But Krevthar didn't understand warnings from worlds he'd never imagined, and that misunderstanding would cost him dearly. She warned him not to push her. The Deathworld girl turned the alien bully into ashes. Part 2. Escalation 3. Weeks passed at Galactic Academy. Maya continued attending classes and completing assignments with quiet excellence. Her xenobiology professor praised her understanding of survival adaptations. Her combat tactics instructor noted her strategic thinking. But Maya never volunteered answers or drew attention to herself. This only made Krevthar angrier. One morning, Maya arrived at her station to find her entire research project deleted. 2 weeks of work gone. The other students in the lab avoided her eyes. Everyone knew who had done it. Maya simply started over. She worked through lunch and stayed late after classes. Within 4 days, she had recreated everything. Her new version was actually better than the original. Krevthar heard about this, and his rage grew. How dare this soft human refuse to break? He began spreading rumors. He told other students that humans carried diseases, that they were primitive and stupid. That Earth was a barely civilized backwater planet, not worthy of galactic attention. Some students believed him. Others were simply too afraid to disagree. Maya found herself excluded from study groups. In the dining hall, seats near her mysteriously emptied. Only Lisa's remained her friend. I don't understand why you don't fight back, Lisa said one evening. I've seen you move in training. You're faster than you pretend to be. Stronger too. Maya smiled sadly. Fighting back would only make things worse. It's worse than being alone and bullied every day. Yes, Maya said simply. Much worse. The next incident happened during advanced combat simulation. Students were paired for zero-gravity sparring. The instructor, a stern Valkorian named Commander Rix, believed in tough training. Chen, you're with Krevthar, he announced. The room went silent. Everyone knew this was wrong. The size difference was enormous. But no one dared protest. In the zero-gravity chamber, Krevthar grinned viciously. Finally, I get to show everyone what human weakness looks like. The simulation began. Krevthar launched himself at Maya with terrifying speed. His species had trained for combat for thousands of years. He was naturally stronger, bigger, and had reach advantages. But something strange happened. Every attack missed. Not by much, just inches. Maya seemed to know exactly where he would strike before he did it. She twisted and turned into zero-gravity with impossible precision, never wasting a single movement. Krevthar grew frustrated and sloppy. He swung harder, faster, putting all his strength into each blow. Maya simply wasn't there when his fists arrived. The watching students began to whisper. This wasn't normal. Humans were supposed to be clumsy and weak, but Maya moved like water, like wind, like something that had evolved in a much harder environment than anyone realized. Finally, Commander Rix called the match. Enough, Chen. Excellent evasion work. Krefthar, you're too aggressive. Control your temper. His public criticism in front of other students humiliated Krefthar worse than any defeat. His scales flushed dark with rage. As they left the chamber, he grabbed Maya's arm and pulled her into an empty corridor. You made me look foolish, he snarled, slamming her against the wall. His clawed hand pressed against her shoulder. Nobody does that to me. Maya didn't struggle. She looked up at him with those calm, dark eyes. Krefthar, I'm asking you again. Please leave me alone. You don't understand what you're doing. I understand perfectly. You're a weak little creature who needs to learn respect. I'm trying to respect you, Maya said quietly. That's why I keep walking away. That's why I don't fight back. Please, just stop. There was something in her voice. Not fear exactly, but almost like sadness. Like someone watching a child play near a cliff edge, trying to warn them of danger they couldn't see. Krefthar heard it as begging. He shoved her harder against the wall and walked away laughing. That night, Maya sat in her room staring at her hands. Lisa's watched her with growing concern. Maya, what did he do? Nothing that matters, Maya said. But her hands were shaking slightly. Why don't you report him? Or fight back? I don't understand. Maya was quiet for a long moment. Because I know what I'm capable of. Lisa's. And he doesn't. If I fight back the way I was trained to, someone could get seriously hurt. You mean he could hurt you? No, Maya said softly. I mean, I could hurt him. That's the problem. Lisa's didn't understand. How could this small, quiet human possibly hurt a Krellian warrior? But something in Maya's expression stopped her from asking more questions. The harassment continued. Kreftar's followers began joining in, encouraged by their leader's behavior. They blocked Maya in hallways. They knocked her materials out of her hands. They laughed and made cruel jokes. Maya endured it all with the same quiet calm. But those who watched closely saw small changes. Her jaw clenched tighter. Her movements became more controlled, more careful. Like someone holding back enormous pressure, Professor Thane noticed. After class one day, he asked Maya to stay behind. I served in the frontier wars, he said quietly. I've met humans before. Military ones. You remind me of them. Maya said nothing. The academy has protocols, he continued. For situations where students with certain backgrounds feel threatened, you can invoke them. No one would blame you. I just want to finish the semester, Maya said. I can handle this. Can you? Or are you just afraid of what happens if you stop handling it? Maya met his eyes. Both, Professor. He nodded slowly. Then be careful. Because young males like Krefthar, when they don't get the fear response they expect, they escalate. They push until something breaks. I know, Maya whispered. I'm counting on him to stop before that happens. But Krefthar had no intention of stopping. That same evening, he hacked into Maya's personal files. Academy security was good, but his father had taught him a few tricks. Most of her records were heavily encrypted, but he found fragments. Military training designation, survival ratings, physical capability assessments, and one phrase that appeared multiple times in different documents. Deathworld Adaptation Protocol. Krefthar didn't know what that meant. He searched the galactic databases, but found only vague references. Something about planets with extreme environments. Something about how species that evolved on such worlds developed unusual capabilities. He dismissed it as bureaucratic nonsense. Humans were weak. Everyone knew that. Their planet was probably just slightly more uncomfortable than average. Nothing that would make them actually dangerous. He decided it was time to teach Maya a final lesson. Something that would break her completely. Something that would make her run crying back to her pathetic little world, as Krefthar planned his next move. Maya sat in her room writing a message. She encrypted it heavily and sent it through official Terran channels. The message was simple: request permission to reveal capabilities and defend myself properly. The response came back within an hour. Request denied. Maintain operational security. Continue diplomatic protocols. Withdraw from Academy if situation becomes untenable. Maya read the message 3 times, then deleted it. She looked at her reflection in the darkened window. Outside, stars gleamed coldly. Somewhere among them was Earth, the world that had forged her into something the galaxy wasn't ready to understand. Tried, she whispered to her reflection. I really tried to warn him. She warned him not to push her. The Deathworld girl turned the alien bully into ashes. ## Part 3. The breaking point. Approaches 6 weeks into the semester. The situation had grown worse. Krefthar's campaign against Maya had become relentless. He convinced Professor Ventok to assign a major group project and pressured every student to refuse working with the human. Maya found herself excluded from all 4 potential groups. Without a team, she would fail the assignment. This would damage her grades severely, possibly forcing her to leave the academy. She approached each group politely, explaining her situation. Most students looked away, embarrassed but too afraid to help. One Avarian student seemed ready to accept her, but Krevthor appeared behind him and the offer vanished. Finally, Maya went to Professor Ventok directly. I need a group for the project, she said calmly. No one will work with me. Professor Ventok, a spider-like arachnoid with 8 intelligent eyes, studied her carefully. I've heard about your situation. Unfortunately, I cannot force students to work together. That defeats the purpose of collaborative learning. Then I request to complete the project alone. The project requires 4 people. The workload is designed accordingly. I understand, Maya said. I'm asking for the opportunity anyway. Something in her tone made Professor Ventok pause. This human showed no anger, no desperation, just calm determination. Very well. You have the same deadline as everyone else. 3 weeks. Krevathar heard about this and laughed. The soft worlder thinks she can do for people's work alone? This will be entertaining to watch her fail. Maya spent every free moment on the project. She worked through meals. She stayed in the lab until late hours. Lisa's brought her food and watched with amazement as her friends systematically solved problems that should have been impossible for one person. How are you doing this? Lisa's asked one night, finding Maya surrounded by holographic displays and calculation streams. By not sleeping much, Maya admitted. Her eyes were red from fatigue, but her hands remained steady. And by being very stubborn. This isn't fair. Krevthar is destroying you and everyone just watches. People are afraid, Maya said without resentment. Fear makes sense. His father commands a war fleet. He has power and uses it. Why would anyone risk helping me? But you're not afraid of him, Lisa's observed. Maya was quiet for a moment. I'm afraid of something, just not him. 2 weeks later, Maya submitted her project. It was comprehensive, detailed, and showed understanding beyond what most groups achieved. Professor Ventok gave her the highest grade in the class. This success enraged Krefthar beyond reason. How dare this inferior creature succeed despite everything he'd done? The other students began whispering. Maybe the human wasn't as weak as everyone thought. Maybe Krefthar had picked the wrong target. These whispers reached Krefthar's ears and wounded his pride deeply. The next incident happened in the dining hall. Maya sat with Lisa's, eating quietly. Krefthar approached, carrying his meal tray. Without warning, he dumped the contents on Maya's head. Hot soup ran down her face in uniform. The hall went silent. Everyone waited to see what would happen. Maya stood slowly. Soup dripped from her hair. She picked up a napkin, wiped her face carefully, and looked at Krefthar. For just a moment, something dangerous flickered in her eyes. Something ancient and cold, then it passed. She gathered her things and walked away without a word, but her hands were shaking. Not from fear or anger. From the effort of control. In the bathroom, Lisa's found her gripping the sink, breathing carefully. Maya, that's enough. You have to fight back. Report him. Do something. I can't, Maya said through clenched teeth. Why not? What's the worst that could happen? Maya met her friend's eyes in the mirror. The worst that could happen is I stop controlling myself. The worst that could happen is I show everyone what humans from Deathworlds are actually capable of. The worst is I prove every fear they have about us is justified. I don't understand. You're not violent. You're the gentlest person I know, because I choose to be, Maya said quietly. Because I work very hard to be. But Lisa's, I grew up on Earth. Do you know what that means? It's your home world. So what? It's classified as Category 12 hazardous in galactic databases. Do you know how rare that is? There are only 11 other planets with that classification in known space, and most of them have no intelligent life. Earth has 8 billion humans, and every single one of us evolved to survive there. Lisa stared at her friend, finally beginning to understand. What makes Earth so dangerous? Everything, Maya said simply. The gravity, the weather, the animals, the plants, even the bacteria. Earth doesn't care if you survive. It kills the weak without mercy. Humans evolved by being too stubborn to die. We became endurance hunters who could chase prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. We learned to eat things that were poisonous and make them food. We survived ice ages, droughts, floods, and plagues. Earth tried to kill us for millions of years, and we just refused to stop existing. She turned to face Lisa's directly. I'm not just a regular human, Lisa's. I'm from the Australian continent. Do you know what Australia is? It's the part of Earth where everything evolved specifically to kill humans. We made a game of surviving there. I grew up training in that environment since I was 12 years old. Lisa's felt her feathers puff up instinctively, a fear response she couldn't control. Why are you telling me this? Because you're my friend, and I need you to understand. I didn't come here to scare anyone. I came here to be normal, to prove humans could fit into galactic society, to show we're more than just survivors from a harsh world. But Krevthar won't stop pushing, and I'm running out of ways to walk away. That evening, Krevthar planned his final lesson. He gathered 5 of his closest followers. The human needs to learn real fear, he told them. Tomorrow night, the training facility will be empty. We'll teach her what happens to those who disrespect their betters. One of his followers, a young Krellian named Voss, seemed uncertain. Is this wise? She's still a student. Your father, my father, believes in strength, Krefthar interrupted. He'll approve when he hears I put an uppity human in her place. We won't do permanent damage. Just enough to send her running back to her backward world. The others agreed, swept up in their leader's confidence. Meanwhile, Professor Thane called Maya to his office. I'm hearing concerning rumors, he said carefully, about plans being made. Do you understand what I'm telling you? Someone's planning to hurt me, Maya said. I suspected and withdraw. Go back to Earth. No assignment is worth your safety. If I run now, it proves humans are weak. It justifies every prejudice, every fear. I can't do that. Professor Thane studied her for a long moment. I served with humans during the war. I know what you're capable of. But these are students, not enemy combatants. If you defend yourself the way you were trained, people will get hurt badly. I know, Maya said quietly. That's why I keep trying to avoid this. What will you do if avoidance stops being an option? Maya was silent, then finally spoke. The minimum necessary, nothing more. The professor nodded slowly. Be careful, Maya-Chen. The galaxy isn't ready to see what Earth really made you. As Maya left his office, she knew time was running out. She'd given Krevthar every possible warning, every chance to walk away. Soon, very soon, those chances would end. And when they did, the quiet human girl from Earth would have to become something else entirely, something the galaxy had classified, and then tried very hard to forget existed. Hash. She warned him not to push her. The Deathworld girl turned the alien bully into ashes. Hash hash. Part 4. The incident the next evening came too quickly. Maya finished her classes and headed to the training facility for her regular workout. She preferred late hours when the gym was empty. It gave her space to practice without holding back constantly. She entered the facility at 2,100 hours. The lights were dim, set to evening mode. Equipment lined the walls, exercise machines designed for different species. The room was large, with high ceilings and padded floors. Maya set down her bag and began stretching. Her muscles were tight from weeks of tension and too little sleep. She closed her eyes, breathing deeply, trying to find the calm center she'd been trained to maintain. "Hello, human." Eyes snapped open. Krevthar stood near the main entrance, blocking it. 4 other Krellians spread out behind him, sealing the exits. She recognized them as his usual followers. Her heart rate increased, but her breathing stayed controlled. "The facility is open to all students. There's room for everyone. We don't want to share space," Krevthar said, walking closer. His scales gleamed under the dim lights. "We came here specifically for you. It's time you learned a lesson about your place in this academy." Maya backed up slowly, keeping all 5 opponents in view. Her training automatically cataloged their positions, movements, and likely attack patterns. She forced those thoughts away. This was still salvageable. "Krevthar, don't do this, please. Just walk away." "We're past walking away," he growled. "You've embarrassed me for the last time. Tonight, you learn what happens when prey forgets its prey." Others moved closer, forming a loose circle around her. Maya's mind raced through options. She could try to reach the emergency call button, but they'd stop her. She could try to run, but they were between her and the exits. That left only one option, the one she'd been desperately avoiding. "All of you, listen to me very carefully," Maya said, her voice calm but carrying an edge it hadn't held before. "I'm begging you to stop. Walk away right now. You have no idea what you're doing. No idea what Earth is. What it made us become. I came here to get away from that. Please don't make me go back to it." One of the followers, Voss, hesitated. Something in her tone made his instincts scream warnings. But Krevthar laughed. "Your pathetic planet couldn't breed anything I'd fear. You're soft mammals from a soft world. Time to prove it." He lunged forward, throwing a massive fist at Maya's head. Everything changed. Maya didn't just dodge. She moved like water, like lightning, like something that had evolved under 3 times this gravity. Krevthar's fist passed through empty air where she'd been a microsecond before. Her counterstrike was precise, scientific, and devastating. She hit the joint of his elbow with exactly the right force and angle. His armored forearm shattered with a crack that echoed through the facility. Krevthar screamed. The sound was raw shock and pain. He'd never been hurt like this before. The others attacked immediately. They came at her from 3 sides, thinking numbers would overwhelm her. What happened next wasn't a fight. It was a demonstration of what natural selection creates when the environment shows no mercy. The first attacker swung at her head. Maya ducked under it, swept his legs with a movement so fast it blurred, and struck his knee as he fell. He went down hard, unconscious before he hit the floor. The second tried to grab her from behind. Maya twisted, using his momentum against him, and threw him over her shoulder into the third attacker. Both crashed into exercise equipment with bone-jarring impact. The fourth backed away, eyes wide with terror. This wasn't possible. Humans were weak. Everyone knew that Voss ran. He reached the door and slapped the emergency alarm. Red lights began flashing. A warning siren wailed. Maya stood in the center of the room, breathing hard but controlled. 3 of Krevthar's followers were down. Krevthar himself knelt on the floor, cradling his shattered arm, staring at her with shock and pain. "I warned you," Maya said quietly. "I tried so hard to warn you." Krevthar's pride wouldn't let him accept this. Despite the pain, despite seeing his friends defeated in seconds, rage overwhelmed his reason. He stumbled to the equipment rack with his good arm and grabbed a plasma cutter, a tool used for maintenance work. It was against every academy rule to use such a thing as a weapon. The plasma cutter could slice through metal. On flesh, it would be catastrophic. "Krevthar, no," Voss shouted from the doorway. But Krevthar was beyond hearing. He activated the plasma cutter, its blade glowing white-hot, and charged at Maya with murder in his eyes. For Maya, time seemed to slow. She'd trained for this, prepared for this. Every human from the Deathworld adaptation program learned to face deadly threats with calm precision. They had to, because Earth taught one simple lesson: hesitate and die. She didn't hesitate. She didn't run or dodge. Instead, she stepped forward into the attack. Her hand moved faster than Krefthar could track, catching his wrist mid-swing. The plasma cutter stopped inches from her face. She could feel its heat, smell the ozone it created. She didn't flinch. Didn't blink. She just looked into Krevthar's eyes. "You should have listened," she said. Then she moved. It was a technique from jujitsu combined with leverage principles, modified for extreme situations. She redirected his momentum, used his own weight and strength against him, and took him to the ground in a controlled fall. The plasma cutter skittered across the floor, deactivating automatically. What followed was pure technique. No anger, no hatred. Just the efficient application of training designed to neutralize threats. She pinned Krevthar with a hold that rendered him completely immobile without causing unnecessary damage. He couldn't move, couldn't fight, couldn't do anything except breathe. "I didn't want this," Maya said, her voice sad. "I tried to tell you. Tried so many times." The door burst open. Professor Thane rushed in, followed by Commander Rix and 2 security officers. They stopped, taking in the scene. 3 unconscious Krellians. One, terrified one by the door. And Maya, small and human, holding the Academy's most dangerous student in a perfect restraining hold. "Nobody move," Commander Rix ordered, though the command seemed unnecessary. "Chen, release him slowly." Maya did, stepping back carefully. Krevthar gasped, trying to rise. But his injured arm and the shock kept him down. Students began gathering at the door, drawn by the alarm. They stared in disbelief. Whispers spread like wildfire. "The human did that? Impossible. She's tiny. Look at them." She beat all 5 of them. Professor Thane held up a hand, and his voice carried authority. "Everyone back to your dorms. Now, this facility is sealed until further notice." As security helped the injured Krellians, Professor Thane approached Maya. She stood quietly, looking at her hands. They were shaking now, after the fact, from the adrenaline crash. "Are you hurt?" he asked gently. "No, sir. Do you need medical attention?" "No, sir." He studied her carefully. Despite everything, she'd shown remarkable restraint. She'd disabled, not killed. Controlled, not destroyed. "Come with me. We need to discuss what happened here." As they walked toward his office, leaving the shocked students behind, Maya couldn't stop her hands from shaking. Not from fear or regret, from the terrible knowledge that she'd finally done what she'd been trying desperately to avoid. She'd shown them. Shown them all what a human from Earth could really do. And nothing would ever be the same again. She warned him not to push her, the Deathworld girl. Turn the alien bully into ashes. Part 5. Aftermath. Academy's medical bay was quiet except for the soft beeping of diagnostic equipment. Krefthar lay on a bed, his arm encased in a regeneration cast. The other 3 injured students were in nearby beds, all conscious now. All staring at the ceiling with shocked expressions. Professor Thane had sealed the room and called an emergency assembly of the senior faculty. In his office, Maya sat in a chair, still wearing her workout clothes, still trying to process what had happened. Commander Rix reviewed the security footage on his datapad. "The recording is very clear," he said to the gathered professors. "Krevthar and 4 others trapped Chen. They attacked first. She defended herself. When Krevthar drew the plasma cutter, she had every right to use lethal force. She chose not to. Professor Ventok repeated slowly. While facing 5 opponents, including one with a lethal weapon, that suggests considerable combat capability. Professor Thane nodded. Maya Chen is from Earth's Deathworld adaptation program. She's been trained since age 12 to survive in Category 12 hazardous environments. What we saw tonight was restraint, not her limits. The other professors exchanged glances. Deathworld adaptation programs were whispered about, but rarely discussed. Humans were still new to galactic society, and many of their military programs remained classified. Should she be expelled? Asked Professor Ventok. Regardless of justification, she injured 5 students severely. They attacked her, Professor Thane said firmly. With intent to cause serious harm, expelling the victim sends a terrible message. But keeping her sends another message, Commander Rix added quietly. It tells everyone that humans are more dangerous than we've admitted. That could cause panic. In the medical bay, Krevthar finally spoke. His voice was weak, drained of its usual arrogance. I want to see her. The human? The medical staff looked uncertain, but Voss, who'd stayed by his friend's side, nodded. I think he needs to. I'll go get her. Minutes later, Maya entered the medical bay. She looked at the injured students, and genuine remorse crossed her face. I'm sorry, she said simply. I didn't want this. You're sorry? Krevthar laughed bitterly. You destroyed us in seconds and you're sorry? Yes, Maya said, sitting in the chair beside his bed. I am. I warned you. Over and over. I tried to make you understand. Understand what? That you're some kind of monster? No, Maya said quietly. That I'm human. And humans come from a world that doesn't forgive weakness. We evolved in a place where everything wanted to kill us. The predators. The weather. The diseases. Even the plants were dangerous. Earth tried to kill humanity for millions of years. We survived by becoming the most adaptable, most stubborn species the planet ever created. Krefthar stared at her. But you're so small. So soft-looking. We are soft, Maya agreed. No armor. No claws. No venom. We had to get smart instead. We had to outlast everything. Do you know what humans are best at, Krefthar? Endurance. We can track prey for days until it collapses from exhaustion. We can survive injuries that would kill most species. We heal from almost anything. And we absolutely refuse to quit. She gestured to herself. I'm not even special by human standards. I'm average. There are 8 billion of us, all from that same harsh world. Some grew up in deserts where the temperature swings 100 degrees. Some in jungles where every bite could be poisonous. I grew up in Australia where we learned to check our shoes for spiders that could kill us with one bite. Voss spoke up from across the room. Why did your people send you here? To spy? To intimidate? To prove we could fit in, Maya said sadly. To show we're not just warriors or survivors. That we could be diplomats, scholars, friends. I volunteered for this exchange program because I wanted to be more than what Earth made me. I wanted to be normal. Normal, Krevthar repeated, then laughed again, this time with genuine humor, despite the pain. You took down 5 Krellian warriors in seconds. That's not normal in any galaxy. It is where I'm from, Maya said. That's the problem. On Earth, I'm unremarkable. Here, I'm a nightmare. I've spent months holding back, trying so hard not to scare anyone. But you kept pushing. You wouldn't stop. Krevthar was quiet for a long time. Finally, he asked, why didn't you kill me? When I came at you with the plasma cutter, you could have. Should have. Because killing you would prove that humans are monsters, Maya said. It would justify every fear the galaxy has about us. I came here to build bridges, not burn them. Even when you gave me every reason, every justification, I couldn't do it. Because we're trying to be better than our worst instincts. We, Krefthar said. All humans think this way. Most of us, Maya nodded. We survived Earth by cooperating. By choosing to help each other instead of just competing. By deciding that being kind was stronger than being cruel. Yes, we can be dangerous. But we choose not to be. That's what makes us human. The room fell silent, except for the medical equipment. Finally, Krefthar spoke again, his voice different now, humble. I need to apologize, publicly to you and everyone. You don't have to, I do, he interrupted. I was wrong. Not just about you. About what strength means. I thought it was about dominating others, making them fear me. But you showed more strength by walking away every time than I ever showed by attacking. 2 days later, the entire student body gathered in the main assembly hall. The faculty sat on stage. Maya sat in the front row with Lisa's beside her, handing her hands supportively. Krevthar walked onto the stage, his arms still in the regeneration cast. The whispers died down as he approached the microphone. I have something to say, he began. I bullied Maya Chen for weeks. I harassed her, insulted her, tried to humiliate her. When all that failed, I attacked her with 4 others, and even drew a weapon. I did these things because I was ignorant and arrogant. I thought strength meant making others fear you. He looked directly at Maya. Maya Chen showed me real strength. She warned me repeatedly to stop. When I wouldn't listen, she defended herself with exactly the force necessary and nothing more. She could have killed me. Should have, by any reasonable self-defense standard. She chose not to, because she's trying to prove that humans can be trusted, that they can show mercy even when attacked. He turned to address the entire student body. I learned something important. The universe is bigger and stranger than our pride lets us understand. Humans come from a death world that forged them into survivors, but they chose to use that strength to protect, not destroy. That makes them more than dangerous. It makes them worthy of respect. He bowed his head. I apologize to Maya Chen. I apologize to this academy for my behavior. And I warn everyone here, never underestimate someone just because they seem peaceful. Maya tried to tell me what she was. I wouldn't listen. That mistake almost cost me my life. The assembly hall was silent. Then, slowly, one student began clapping. Then another. Within moments, the entire hall erupted in applause. Maya sat frozen, tears streaming down her face. Lisa squeezed her hand. You did it. You actually did it. After the assembly, students approached Maya cautiously, but with genuine curiosity. They asked questions about Earth, about human culture, about what it was like growing up in such a harsh environment. For the first time, they saw her as a person, not a threat or a target. That evening, Maya stood at the observation deck looking out at the stars. Professor Thane joined her. You handled everything remarkably well, he said. Most people in your position would have responded with much more force. I was trained to respond with appropriate force, Maya corrected gently. Killing Krevthar would have been inappropriate. The galaxy will learn about this incident, the professor said. How do you think they'll react? Maya was quiet for a moment. Some will fear us more. Some will respect us more. Both reactions are based on what they think we might do. I just hope some of them will see what we chose not to do. That matters more. She looked at her reflection in the glass. Behind her image, stars gleamed endlessly. I came here to prove humans could integrate peacefully. I failed at that. Everyone knows what I'm capable of now. Did you fail? Professor Thane asked. Or did you prove something more important? That humans can be dangerous, but choose not to be. That you'll endure incredible provocation before defending yourselves. That when you do fight, you fight with honor and restraint. I'd call that a success. Maya smiled slightly. Maybe. I just wish I could have done it without hurting anyone. That wasn't your choice. That was Krevthar. You gave him every opportunity to walk away. Some lessons can only be learned the hard way. As they stood there in comfortable silence, Maya thought about Earth, about the harsh world that had forged her people into survivors, about all the humans scattered across the galaxy trying to prove they belonged, trying to show they were more than just products of a death world. She'd warned Krevthar. She'd warned him so many times. But he hadn't understood until it was too late that warnings from death world survivors should always be taken seriously. Not because of what they might do, but because they understand violence better than most species ever would. And when they warn you away from it, they're trying to protect you from something they know all too well. Maya finished the semester with honors. Students who once avoided her now sought her out. She made new friends, shared stories of Earth, and helped others understand that humans weren't monsters. Just people who'd survived a very harsh home and chosen to use that strength wisely. Krevthar became one of her strongest advocates. His recovery took months, but he used that time to learn about Earth and human history. He became fascinated by how such a dangerous species had chosen cooperation over conquest. The galaxy would eventually understand what the Academy learned. Humans didn't join galactic civilization because they needed protection. They joined because everyone else needed them to choose peace. And by choosing it repeatedly, despite every provocation, they proved they were ready to be trusted. Maya had warned him not to push her. In the end, both the warning and what happened when it was ignored taught the galaxy an important lesson. Respect isn't just about fearing someone's strength. It's about honoring their choice to be gentle despite that strength. That choice, more than any display of power, is what makes humanity special in a galaxy full of warriors. They survived a Deathworld and decided to save others, not conquer them. That's the real story worth telling.